this weekend for one of the world's really more important gymnastics competitions. It's called the American Cup. Hello, I'm Jim McKay reporting from Fort Worth. The American Cup has always been held before at Madison Square Garden in New York, where it's attracted tremendous interest and tremendous crowds. This time, however, they've moved to Texas. Now, I said this is one of the more important competitions in the world. That doesn't mean that all of the world's great gymnasts are here. That only occurs really at the World Championships, which will take place later this year, which we'll be covering, and at the Olympic Games. However, the American Cup draws a most attractive field. Just about all of the important Americans are here. Romanians are here, but not Nadia Comaneci. The Chinese are here from the People's Republic, and they are very good. The only major country that is not represented at all is the Soviet Union, and there's a story behind that where they first accepted and then they rejected the invitation, the story seeming to be that it was partly in retribution for the American boycott of the Olympic Games last summer and partly just the state of international politics these days. At any rate, the Soviets are not here. Let's bring in our expert on the male end of the sport. By the way, we'll be seeing Kathy Rigby Mason a little bit later. She'll be covering, as always, the women's, but this is inevitably Gordon Maddox. How do you see the men's competition, Gordon?
Well, Jim, I think a review of the medal count from the individual event championships will sort of rate the competition. Lee Yui Cho from the People's Republic.
Always, that means Kathy Rigby Mason. Kathy, how does this shape up this time?
Well, after watching the individual apparatus competition, I'd have to say the favorites going into this meet are number 1 from Romania, Lavinia Agache, and from the United States, doing very well in the all-around competition, Tracee Talavera and her teammate, Julianne McNamara. Both were tough, rated 1 and 2 going into this competition. And also two tiny little gymnasts, in fact, 60 pounds, 4'6", from China. And they are tough, and they're to be reckoned with, not only here, but in the future.
They are really something. You're going to be interested in seeing them. The vault competition, by the way, has already taken place. Let's have a look at the winner. That winning vault was the one you're going to see by Julianne McNamara of the United States.
And just to show you the power Julianne has, she hits back slightly on the board and is a little short on the board side of the horse, but manages to still get high enough off-light to complete this handspring front with a half twist in a pike position. Now, it's only worth a 9.9, not a 10. She still manages a good score.
And the score she got was 9.60. That was the best, as we said. Tied for second place at the end of one event, Tracee Talavera of the United States and Lavinia Agache of Romania. We move now to our first look at one of the young Chinese women. This is Wang Chun, 12 years old, 4 feet 5 and 61 pounds.
And, you know, being so small, you'd think it'd be an advantage on this event, but she cannot use the spring of the bars to really help her. It all comes from her own strength, her own power, and she's moving well. Full twisting Comaneci, little step there.
And if you want to know what lies in the future for Chinese gymnastics, she was only 9th in her own national championships. The score for Chun, 9.40. Here we come with Lavinia Agache of Romania. Remember, she's tied for second, coming to the uneven bars. Romanian girl, teammate of Nadia Comaneci, and of course, they're all very good on this event.
And she's very, very tough competitor, very determined, working real well at this point. Stalter's excellent. Good form. Another free hip. Giant swing. Another giant swing to her dismount. Now she'll do a double flyaway. Solid as a rock.
She did.
Nice exercise.
Lavinia Agache, in pursuit of Julianne McNamara of the U.S., leads the way on the second event. McNamara yet to come in fifth. And now here's Julianne about to go into action in the American Cup.
And she
the biggest competition she's been in so far, really, in her career.
Excuse me, Jim. She'll start with an incredible amount. It's a stem to a handstand. And I believe most men can't do it as well as she does. Watch this. Right to a handstand. Beautiful. It used to be that you could just swing on the uneven bars and use sheer strength. Now you have to be so precise going in and out of those handstands, those stalters. Julianne has a lot of risk in her routine. Front stalter. Beautiful exercise so far. Another stalter to a handstand. Look at the control in the handstand. Free hip front with a half twist. Great exercise.
Hey, that was beautiful, wasn't it?
Oh, I loved it. That was super.
She only needs a 9.6 to hold on to the lead here, and that certainly looks better than that. Julianne McNamara from Danville, California, although she lives and trains now in Eugene, Oregon.
She has great upper body strength. Little bit off on that handstand turn, but really didn't hurt her routine at all, I don't think. Free hip handstand front with a half twist, right in the center of the bars, right where she should be.
It's a solid one, 9.70. The leader at the halfway mark of the women's competition is Julianne McNamara of the United States. Second, her teammate Tracee Talavera. In third place, Lavinia Agache of Romania. Championships in Fort Worth, Texas. This is Jim McKay with Kathy Rigby Mason, and on the balance beam, we're watching the defending champion, Tracee Talavera of the United States, who at the moment is in second place, just behind her teammate, Julianne McNamara.
She's working quite well right now. Aerial cartwheel. She must feel a little bit of pressure in the earlier competition in the individual apparatus championship. She had a big break at the end of this routine on her dismount, but she's doing real well right now.
She only trails her teammate by 15/100ths of a point.
Very aggressive. So important. Right through there to a little pose. Watch this. Put a Thomas Flair on the balance beam.
Mm-hmm. 14 years old. She appears so long-legged. It's hard to imagine she's only 5'1", but that's what she is.
That's right.
Oh.
Big break. That's really too bad. 5/10 of a point. You know, Jim, I think coming into this competition, there's a little bit of a psychological factor in that she only had a week's notice, and it's hard to prepare yourself mentally.
She's also the defending champion here. Let's get the dismount, and there
Double
she is.
flip.
Why did she only have a week's notice, Captain?
Well, apparently she just wasn't in shape. She had hurt her ankle about 6 months ago and declined the offer to come to this competition, but a week later they decided to invite her again, and here she is.
Here was her problem. Coming up.
Excuse me, Jim, she looks right on right here, but when you're doing tumbling moves like that, you have to be so on the first two moves and then perform a trick like a back layout on the beam. It's just very easy to get off. Her left shoulder was off a bit.
Tracee's mark, 9.05, and that will cost her dearly. McNamara prepares for the balance beam. She's aware that this was not a good event for her in last night's qualifying competition.
Now, Julianne did a round off to a double back. Had no problem in practice with this dismount. There she goes. She over-rotated. They'll watch her pull her knees in. Just too far beyond her shoulders. Big disappointment.
Now the leader in the competition, the 15-year-old freckle-faced American, Julianne McNamara. A score of 9-3 or better will keep her in the lead with only one more event to go.
Jim, she's very capable of doing that kind of routine. She has lots of difficulty, but it's also a real critical in for her. She has trouble with some of the different moves. This is the first one. See if she can hold this one-arm handstand. She doesn't hold it long. They should hold it for at least 3 seconds. Right to a handstand.
She knows her teammate fell off this beam.
And in the previous competition, in the individual apparatus competition, she fell on her dismount, had a beautiful routine, and then fell on the dismount. So she has to be just a little nervous here, like her teammate, Tracee Talavera. This is a back handspring right into a back, not 2 back handsprings in a row. I thought she was going to do a back flip there. Tends to work a little bit with her shoulders up. They try to stretch. Now watch this. A planche right into a back hip circle now. Nice move. See, she moves around that beam very freely. She's going to make the beam round after a while. Jump straddle, another critical move. Very nice. That's a tough move. Those shoulders and hips aren't in line. They're off just slightly. You're in trouble. Back pike. Little bobbles here and there that may cost a 1/2
She can get through this safely, however. She'll be much more at home on the final floor exercise, won't she?
Yes, and let's see if she can get this cartwheel double back.
All right.
Didn't overspin that one.
Okay.
Nice.
Julianne McNamara needing only a 9.3 to hold on to the lead with an event to go. Almost unquestionably had better than that.
Let's take another look at that strength movement. You can see that she really prepares herself, even in the very beginning. She gets those shoulders leaning way over. She has incredible upper body strength. Now, this part, just has to stay pretty free of that beam because it isn't round. She had to worry a little bit about this dismount because of previous experience in the last competition. She gets those feet right on. Nice lift, way above the beam. Really pulls it around. Good landing.
Now, Julianne looking for, she hopes, her first international championship. The mark is actually 9.625, but they can't manage that on the board, so it looks like 9.62. At the end of the balance beam, then, Julianne McNamara will take a comfortable lead into the final event, the floor exercises, over Lavinia Agache of Romania. As you see, Tracee Talavera, the defending champion, dropped all the way down to 5th. We'll be seeing the final men's event, the high bars, shortly. However, the vault and the parallel bars have already taken place. Let's check them. Beginning her swift ascent in the months before the Montreal Olympics.
I wonder where she pulls all that strength from. Here's her last tumbling run. A double twist. Beautiful. Look at the height on that.
And suddenly, there it was. The first perfect mark of 10 that we had seen. She went on to get 7 more in the Olympics. Just like the American Cup and American Sweep, she can win with a mark of 9.65 or better. And here she is, marching proudly to the center of the mat. The moment of her career to date.
You can bet the adrenaline is running high. Her first move, a double pike, is what she'll be thinking about at this moment. You can almost tell what they're thinking before she even goes for it. Here she goes now for double pike. Pretty good. She's happy, you can tell. Got one tumbling run out of the way. To build the power now for that second tumbling run. Front flip, round off flip flop, double twist, beautifully done. Clean form. Must have a change of pace in their routine. There's a Branny. And this is where it is. Great control on her hands. Should have a twisting dismount. They're tired right about now, but didn't look like it there. Nice form.
Dramatic music for a dramatic moment in her career.
She could do it, Jim.
It appears that she well may have done it. Julianne McNamara at age 15 serving notice that come 1984 in the Summer Olympics, you'll have to deal with her, maybe even long before that at this year's World Championships coming up in the fall. A very appealing young lady, Julianne McNamara.
Julie seems to be a better twister than flipper. On this last tumbling run, she just shows just how precise and beautifully she can do a tumbling move. There it is. Just as good as in the middle of her routine. And her last move on the floor, balance move. She had a little trouble in previous competition, but right here, right on balance. Right there.
9.8, that does it. Julianne has won the women's title. In a minute, we'll see the now former champ, Tracee Talavera, trying to move up from 5th place. Talavera, who came here hoping to successfully defend her championship. She's not going to do it. A bad performance on the balance beam that gave her a mark of only 9.05. Took away any chance she had. However, she's really good on the floor.
Yes, she is, Jim. She has one move coming up in her opening tumbling run that's a little bit critical for her. She was overspinning her double back in practice. Let's see if she can hold on to it here. Very nice. Really knows how to concentrate when it counts. Front flip, one of her front tumbling passes. Round up flip-flop full. I I think in future competitions she'll be putting a double twist on the end of her second tumbling run there. It's not the end, folks. Very nice ballet moves. Full twisting back handspring. Press handstand. Great control on her hands. That control comes from working the balance beam. Let's see if she can have the endurance now to really bring that last tumbling run high. Double twist. Beautifully done. She's glad that's over with. Nice routine.
Tracee Talavera. Well, she didn't let that balance beam disaster phase her at all. Not in the least. And at age 14, that's pretty good. Well, look at that. 9.80, the same mark that Julianne got. And that is going to move Tracee all the way from 5th place to a tie for 2nd with Wang Shun of the People's Republic of China.